The New England Patriots put on a show in primetime, taking down the previously undefeated Buffalo Bills. Katie Caldwell, Jeff Lloyd back here with you today. Jeff, every game on the NFL schedule is important, but you know the Patriots wanted to win that one in particular. Under the bright lights, we saw Drake May take down Josh Allen. What did you learn from this one?
What you think he came away with it is, and this was certainly, for Mike Vrabel, this was probably the first circled game of the year.
I
You know
agree.
what I'm saying? And I know that this is the apex of this division. And we are going to go in there, and we had talked about this. We're going to go in there and we are going to swing with everything we have. And they most certainly did.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs, which we both thought, felt that, he felt the Bills left some meat on the bone by moving on from Stephon Diggs. So Stephon Diggs was obviously going to come in there with something to prove himself. I think for me, the biggest takeaway is that Drake May, if you weren't on the Drake May train yet,
Welcome.
you better get on
Yeah.
because Drake May, he is it. He has got it. They didn't necessarily run well and they didn't really blow your mind, as far as throwing the ball. Took advantage of 3 Bills turnovers, which is
Hmm.
very unlike a Buffalo Bills team. But I think the thing, and with Vrabel is, he is going to push players and he is going to push them to the limit. And there's certainly been players that have not been Mike Vrabel guys
Hmm.
just due to it. But when you win, unlike the end of his time in Tennessee when they weren't winning and players were really quick dialing out the Mike Vrabel noise,
Hmm.
you've got a pretty fairly young team here with New England. Now sitting at 3-2, probably certainly kicking themselves. They lost a game to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yep.
But this team right now is sitting here and picking up momentum. And each week, it seems they put out a little bit better performance than they did the week before. So right now, yes, it's 4-1 Buffalo. It's 3-2 New England. New England says, well, technically, right now we're sitting here with a tiebreaker. So it
Hmm.
just pushes and it allows Vrabel to do his thing, coach, get on the field, physically get involved because he enjoys doing that and the players enjoy it more. The players buy in more because, you're not supposed to necessarily walk into Buffalo and win. And, New England did just that last night. And it certainly put, I would say a lot of people in the AFC on notice where
Oh,
all of a
yeah.
sudden you had the Patriots on your schedule this year. That game just became a whole heck of a lot tougher because, you looked at what they did. No, it wasn't bad. Oh, you beat the Panthers. Da, da, da. Oh, you won at Buffalo. All right. So it's
In
kind of
prime
like
time.
that now. Yeah, absolutely. With all the lights, obviously, all the glitz. So New England, obviously, a really, really good, you know, win for basically to just affirm the way the team is currently being run by Mike Vrabel and just allows, and there is a lot of youth there, allows these young
Hmm.
kids to just continue to digest it and believe in it.
How much of this turnaround can we credit to Mike Vrabel? He's really got something going in New England.
Well, the other thing, you get back to these guys, who were players, and this is no disrespect to, you know, the head coaches in the league now, and it's certainly become, a younger, and these guys just get involved in coaching in the game at such an early age. They're ready for
Mhm.
these jobs. But, even Vrabel, though, was a good player in New England. And you know what? When they needed a red zone tight end, Mike Vrabel went from defensive end and went in and played red zone tight end. So it's not like Mike Vrabel, even he gives off this big, tough guy persona. And, let's not kid ourselves, he is.
Yeah.
But he also said, like as a player, he would do what it needed to be done to win. And,
Mhm.
when you speak that and it's coming from experience as opposed to just, head coach for dummies, or he's preaching it because he's been there, and it certainly doesn't hurt that he comes from basically what everyone will probably regard as the greatest head football coach who ever lived. So it's not just Vrabel coaching the Patriots; it's Vrabel played for the Patriots, who played for Bill Belichick,
The
and
Patriot
you want to
way, it's
go there,
giving.
and you want to be part of bringing that franchise back to what it was. So I think for Vrabel, he's a challenging coach. He's
Mhm.
a difficult coach, but you gain his trust and you gain Mike Vrabel's belief in you. you are set. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He will look at you as an absolute just pillar of the franchise,
Mhm.
and I think that's what they're starting to notice here, these players, which, lets you go basically a little bit above your head. And, it's probably a little early to be going into Buffalo on a Sunday night and winning a game. It's probably a little ahead of schedule for a game like that, but it goes certainly a long way to just keeping everybody dialed in. And now all of a sudden, some of these other games feel like maybe they're a little bit easier because you just went toe to toe as of last
Mhm.
night. It was probably the AFC Super Bowl favorite.
Quick pause. If you haven't subscribed to the BetCanada YouTube channel, you can do so below. It's free and it helps support our channel so we can keep bringing you NFL and NHL content. Now, back to the show. We talked a lot about Travion Henderson heading into this one. I've seen a lot of questions of why aren't they utilizing him more. With the injury to Antonio Gibson and Ramondre Stevenson's issues with fumbling, which it seems like it's officially an issue, are we going to see more of the rookie?
You don't see how you can't. Um, he's just got, and the thing is, it's not going to be a huge like piece of the puzzle. I mean, if you said 13, 14 touches and you mix that up into, four targets, five passing targets, maybe eight, nine carries, because he came into the league certainly with a great pedigree. Everyone believed he was the best pass pro blocking running back in the draft.
Hmm.
So essentially, there's not a reason he's got to come off the field, but you also have to keep in mind, he and Quinshon Judkins at Ohio State last year, it was almost a 50-50 split. So these guys, were getting a lot of time off the field, getting a lot of rest. And Trevion Henderson is a big play guy, 60, 70
Hmm.
yards at any time. So ideally, you need a guy like Ramondre Stevenson, but if you keep putting the ball on the ground, especially when you're playing for Mike Vrabel, it may not be so much about what carries you're going to get. It's going to be whether or not you're even going to have a uniform in your locker on Sunday, and he doesn't keep you in street clothes. Because Mike Vrabel is not going to be okay with you giving up the ball. That is just not going to
Hmm.
work for Mike Vrabel. So it certainly opens up the opportunity here for Travion Henderson. And I think, the more confidence you grow with Drake May, Henderson's the back you want on the field. Because
Mm.
if May's lining up in shotgun, you're scared to death of what Drake May can do with the ball as a passer. But now you got to deal with this exceptionally fast. He's good in pass pro. He can receive. He can certainly run. So Travion Henderson feels like the guy that would do the most damage with Drake May within the Patriots offense. Still think you're going to kind of need to be, that hammer and nails guy that, the second and three, that type of stuff. But for, New England, and that's probably one of the positives about this as well, being the 3-2, is a guy that just dominated all summer long for them in
Hmm.
preseason, really hasn't gotten going yet in the regular season. And that's just maybe another weapon they can have coming down the pike here sometime soon.
Was this their biggest win since the Tom Brady era? Like, I can't think of anything close to
I
this
cannot,
level.
I cannot see now because the Vrabel thing always felt so much more real than the Mayo thing. Anything you did, even last year, no, I mean, and it's May, and it's, what we talked about earlier, later last week, where, it's going to be a May Allen thing here now for years. And,
Yeah.
Drake May is going to be measured by New England fans by, well, what was your record against Josh Allen and the Bills, and that type of thing. And, New England will look at Buffalo all they want. And, Buffalo can talk about, the nice run they've had over here the last few years. But meanwhile, Mike Vrabel and his team can say, well, I can tell my guys about stories about Super Bowls. That's not something that's going to conversations as great as the Bills have been over the last few years. You haven't even been to one, let alone win them. So, for Mike Vrabel, certainly a cocky son of a gun. There's no doubt about it.
I love
And
it.
to take this one, I'm sure was just super special for him. And it's something that he is just going to use to just absolutely motivate the living daylights out of his guys going further.